I think that it can really help me, but I also think that it can help you if you're someone who struggles with finding the time, making the time, or feeling guilty, depressed, and overwhelmed if you don't get everything on your to-do list done. Hey everybody, welcome back. If you clicked on this video, then you probably were enticed by the title. And this is based on a book that I'm reading, and it's from Oliver Burkeman, who wrote one of my favorite books of the last few years, which was 4,000 Weeks. I'll kind of put a picture of it like up here. So yeah, 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals. And this was one of the best kind of productivity, time management, self-help books that I've ever read. It really impacted me. I made a video about it. I'll link it here somewhere or in the show notes. Now, a few years have gone by and he had released a new book, and this one is called Meditations for Mortals. His whole premise of this book is about living an imperfect life. So he calls himself an imperfectionist, or this concept of imperfectionism. We get wrapped up in this concept of having to be perfect, having to get stuff done all the time, having to be ultra productive. And it's something that I struggle with. So a few months back, I made a video that got a lot of views, for me at least, it got a lot of views. And I announced that I was working on 2 books at the same time. And I've been diligently working away on those books, but making very slow progress due to life, due to responsibilities, due to things just getting in the way. And I've really been struggling with this because I'm putting a lot of energy into it. I'm putting a lot of energy into other areas of my life, and the progress just seems very, very slow. So I stumbled upon this book, again, Oliver Burkeman, Meditations for Mortals. It's his follow-up to 4,000 Weeks. And the central premise of this book, and I'm not finished. In fact, the book is designed to be read once a day for a month. Each week is a theme, and then each chapter is a day, right? Now, I'm not sticking to that plan. I'm reading it pretty much cover to cover as fast as I can, and then I'll go back and then do the 30-day and reread it, because I really love some of the things that he's talking about in this book, and I think that it can really help me, but I also think that it can help you if you're someone who struggles with finding the time, making the time, or feeling guilty, depressed, and overwhelmed if you don't get everything on your to-do list done. So what I'm going to be covering is the first 6 chapters, the first 6 days, and the tips that he shares in those 6 days. And the first one, it's the central theme to the book, and it is titled, It's Worse Than You Think, on the Liberation of Defeat. And he starts the book with this concept of our lives are worse than we think they are. And what he means by this is not that we shouldn't be grateful, or not that, some of us do actually live a very privileged life. What he's talking about is that everything that we have in our brain, in our mind, in our hearts that we want to accomplish, or that might even be on your dream board or on your to-do list or on your goal list, it's not going to get done. Most of it will never get done. Every vision you have of yourself of, oh yeah, I would love to be that kind of person. Oh, I would love to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I would love to own my own business. I would love to have a 6-pack abs. I would love to have perfect teeth, perfect health, perfect diet, perfect whatever, bank account. I would love to be a millionaire. I would love to have a Ferrari someday. The power of this first insight, this first tip from this book, is that most of that's not going to happen. And it's absolutely okay. It is okay to not have a Ferrari. It is okay to not have perfect abs. In fact, if you're not probably already halfway there, if you're an adult or genetically predisposed to having perfect abs or perfect teeth or perfect whatever, it's probably not going to happen for you. Embracing this fact is something that he encourages in the first chapter, is that we have to embrace our limitations. We have to get comfortable with being imperfect to free up time and mental space to actually focus on the things that we can uniquely bring value to ourselves, to the world, to our life. And for someone like me who is incredibly curious, I'm always reading across a wide variety of subjects. If you follow me at all, if you've seen my end of year reading lists, if you get my newsletter, you'll see that my tastes in reading, my interests, the subject matters that I want to dive into are highly diverse. To be honest, that's probably a problem. I have seen it as a value, as something that kind of like a badge of honor that I wear, but the more I think about the time I have remaining and how life just actually works, it's probably not a smart strategy. I can't do everything. I can't be interested in everything. We'll get to a point later. It's the sixth. I think it's the sixth. Yeah, it's the sixth tip in this list of the first, let's say, 30% of this book. And I just can't focus on everything. I can't go down every rabbit hole. I have to choose. We have to choose as adults. What are we going to give our time to? And freeing up that mental space, giving yourself permission, giving yourself the power to choose, we start down that road by embracing our limitations and understanding that we're not going to be everything that we envisioned. We are not going to be the person we dreamed of when we were 7 years old in our bedroom, thinking about life, thinking about what it was going to be like as an adult. And not only that reality, that will never be all of those things. It's okay. In fact, it's probably better. And we'll discuss why in the next tip. All right, so I just went upstairs to the bookstore that's been in a few of my videos. It's out of business, of course, because nobody reads anymore. Nobody reads. It's a tragedy that bookstores go out of business, guys. Digital media, and I get the hypocrisy and the irony of me saying that, considering I'm making digital media as we speak, literally. But I balance that out with like old school reading, paper books, and the fact that the bookstore in my neighborhood is now gone sucks. Like, it sucks. Wasn't that great of a bookstore, like, let's be honest. There wasn't a whole lot of English language, but still, I probably bought 20 something books over the last 4 or 5 years in that store. Now, nothing. Anyhow, just my quick little rant about the importance of reading, folks. You must be reading all the time. Every adult should read 1 book a month, if not more. That's just to maintain knowledge and wisdom. If you're not reading 1 book a month, unless you're working 2 or 3 jobs, single parent, I get it. If that's your situation, I totally get it. But if you're not in that situation, then 1 book a month is totally doable and good for you and good for the world. All right, rant over. Let's get back to what I was talking about. Blackpink is a K-pop band. If you don't know Blackpink, are you like even living? Do you even have a life? Are you okay? Like, are you okay if you don't know who Blackpink is? I'm worried about you. I'm a 51-year-old crusty dude, and I know who Blackpink is. So the second point is on actually doing things. So what he is writing about in this section of the book is that a lot of times we get caught up in making plans or the perfect calendar or the perfect equipment or the perfect office space to get your work done. And the point that Berkman makes in his book is that the only way you become a person who does a thing, so let's use me as an example as a writer, okay? I want to write these 2 books. I've set my big goal, writing these 2 books. So the only way to become a writer is to Right. And a lot of times we get caught up in the perfect plan. Is my outline perfect? Am I using the right software? Is my desk set up the way I want it? Is my chair ergonomic? How about my keyboard? Oops, I need coffee to concentrate, so on and so forth. So what he says is that the only way to become what you're looking to become is to actually start to do that thing and to do it today. So yeah, he uses this powerful metaphor in this point of the book, and he uses a kayak versus a super yacht. And what he writes is that life is like being in a kayak. It is small, and you have to power it yourself. You can't bring a lot of things. You are susceptible to the waves, the currents, the wind, the elements more so than if you were navigating in a super yacht. So the metaphor of the super yacht is that here's this big, incredible boat with a crew, with a captain, with someone who is steering it for us, with everything thought out, with enough food on board, fuel, it's super huge, it's safe, you can take it in extreme weather, you can take it in the open ocean, places that you would never go with a kayak. He wants us to embrace in this book is the fact that most of us will never have a life that is like a super yacht. Even people who have a super yacht, their life is not like a super yacht in this sense, meaning they have problems too. So many stories of the richest, the most powerful, the most famous people falling from grace, going bankrupt, suffering just like the rest of us. In this section with the kayak and super yacht as a metaphor, he talks a lot about getting things done and just doing things. Something that I'm really trying to focus on is not to necessarily have a goal. And even though I made a whole video about goals and why goals are super important, and I still believe that we should, but what I mean is we can get so wrapped up in the end result of that goal and then ignore the process that it takes to achieve that goal. And that's something that I'm trying to backpedal a bit on with my own goal and fall in love with process, fall in love with the day-to-day habit of doing the thing. So again, bringing it back to my situation, please apply what I'm talking about to your own situation, your own goals, your own dreams. But if I just write today, then I am one step closer to being the kind of person that writes every day. But if I set out with this pressure of, oh, I need to be a person who writes every day, I can get wrapped up in that thought, in that huge undertaking of becoming the type of person that writes every day versus I'm just going to write today. It starts with one step. It starts with today. It starts with doing the thing that's going to bring value to your life. So the first point was about embracing the fact that we're not going to get everything done. But after you do that, it liberates you to then say, but what can I get done? What should I get done? Given my values, given my strengths, given my goals, given the things that I actually want to do in life. Now that frees up time to actually get those things done. But then how to do those things is just to start. Literally, just start. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna take you guys, I'm gonna go find a place to sit, and I'm gonna get some writing done before we move on to the 3, 4, 5, and 6th point of this video. So let's go. All right, so now the third point in the book. It's simple, it's basic, but again, with this whole idea of living this imperfect life and embracing your limitations is the fact that we can do anything we want. We only have to face the consequences. You know, something my father always used to tell me was that you can have anything you want, but you can't have everything. And it's the same type of thinking to where you can literally do whatever you want. You can rob a bank, you can kill people, you can start a garden, you can start a school, you can move to Portugal, you can move to China like I have now. You can do all of those things. You only have to pay the consequences. We actually have more freedom than we think we do. What we don't want to do oftentimes, and this is what holds us back, and this is what keeps us kind of locked in this prison of our own thinking, is that we're not willing to pay the consequences for some of those things that we may want. So what we tell ourselves instead is, well, I can't do it because I have 3 kids, or I can't do it because I have to work 2 jobs, or I can't do it because it's too expensive to move across the city or something like that. Okay, sure. But what that really is saying is that you are choosing not to pay the consequences. So if you wanted to move across the city and it was too expensive, the consequences of making that decision might be you have to take on a 3rd job to afford to move across the city for whatever reason. So when we realize this, when we reflect on the fact that I can do whatever I want, I can choose pretty much to do whatever I want in this life, with my day, with my free time, as long as I am willing, as an adult, as a rational adult, to pay the consequences for those decisions. Like, that's super freeing. That's super liberating for me to be able to just think like, yeah, I can do that. When we think about our choices this way, when we think about our life this way, it actually makes us feel like we're much more in control than we actually are. So what I want you to do, because what I've been doing since I've read this a few days back, is to just challenge the things that I tell myself I don't have a choice over. Is it really I don't have a choice, or is it the fact that I just don't want to pay the consequences? Either one is valid, but you need to know how you're choosing. You need to know that you are choosing, that it's an actual conscious choice. All right, enough of that point. Let's go to the 4th point.
There's a long black train pulling me down. Feels like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
All right, the next point that we're going to be talking about is this concept of a productivity debt. What he means by this is that simply by nature of being a human and being born, we owe the universe, or we owe this world, our productivity. Now, of course, we have to do enough work to eat, to pay for a roof over our heads or whatever, but it's the other things. It's the nagging sense of, did you maximize every single minute during your day? And I really suffer from this. So like, if I have a day where I just kind of chill at the house, watch a movie, don't really do much, don't, work on my creative work or get a project done around the house or something like that, I just don't feel good about myself. And what Berkman is arguing in this book is that you need to get over that. Like, you need to get over that feeling, because if you continue to battle that, the list is too long. So what you should do instead is, instead of a to-do list, he argues keeping a got-done list or a done list, to where you actually look back on all the little things that you actually got done during the day or during the week or during the month. I have a to-do list every day, right? So I'll show you guys. I always carry it with me, okay? This is my to-do list, and it's like on cardstock. What I'm gonna try to do is actually look more at the things that I got to check off, instead of obsessing over the things that I didn't get done. So yeah, different mindset. The 5th point from this book is embracing the fact that there is simply too much information. In the information age, in the reality that we all live in, we will never read or watch or listen to all the things. I really struggle with this again, because as you guys know, I buy books all the time. Too much, way too much. My library at home is well over 1,000 titles, probably 1,500. And another 500 in my e-reader. So just ridiculous. Like, I'll never read them all. What Berkman is arguing is that you have to embrace the fact that, yeah, you're never going to read them all. It's okay. He mentions the sunk cost fallacy. We've spent a lot of money on books. Let's just use my life as an example. So I've spent a lot of money on books, okay? Thousands and thousands of dollars. There's a sunk cost to that. I've already spent the money. That cost is now baked into my life, right? There's this human need to want to make something of it, to justify it, to use it, to read all those books and every single title, to somehow make it okay that I spent that much money on books in the first place. And what Berkman is arguing in this book is to embrace your limitations. Once again, your imperfectionist is that you're never going to get to the titles, Michael. You're never going to get to the titles. You read 50 to call it 65 books a year. You have 1,500, you're gonna live another whatever, 30, hopefully, like hopefully. I'm not gonna make it. Like I'm just not gonna make it. So you have to embrace the fact that you're not going to get to all the information, all the newsletters that you've subscribed to, everything that you've bookmarked, every blog, every YouTube video that somebody has sent you. You're not gonna get to it all. It's okay, you don't need to. Just drop it and only focus on the things where you have intense interest. Again, tying back to the first point is where when you free up time and you embrace this concept, your life is worse than you think it is. You're never gonna get everything done, ever. You're not gonna be all the kinds of person that you thought you were gonna be, and that's totally okay. But now it frees you up to do the things and read the things and dive deeply into the information that is important to you, that echoes with your values, that adds some value to this world, to your life, to your family, to your company. So there's too much information. Just skip it, skip most of it. Go for quality over quantity. Finish my walk, and the final point, you can't care about everything. And it's kind of tied to the last point around information overload. Nowadays with social media, we're inundated with every single tragic, terrible thing that happened in the world. And while all of that is valid, it's simply impossible to care deeply and to get invested and to get involved with every single thing that happens. Every single day, someone, or I get some sort of an interaction online where it's, donate to this, donate to this, donate to this, donate to this, give your voice to this, give your voice to this, give your voice to this. And while I agree with most of it, and most of it is terrible, and the world is terrible sometimes, and we want to make a difference, we want to fight for change, it's simply not possible to do everything. And there's a quote in the book that talks about, instead of having 50 million people aware of something terrible that happens, it would probably be more effective to have 3,000 people dedicate a decade of their time, a decade of their life. And this is about that point, the beginning point of this whole video, is that once you free up your mind, once you embrace your limitations, then you can go deep into something that you deeply care about, that you truly care about, in a way to maybe help change the world and help stop these terrible things that happen all over the world. It's something I've been trying to do because right now there's a lot of terrible stuff in the news, guys. There's a lot of heartbreaking stuff in the news, especially in the Middle East. Every time I see a picture, every time I read a story, every time I watch a video of what's happening over there, my heart breaks and I want to get involved. And part of me wants to fly over there and document it and fight and help, and that's just not possible. Can I send money? Yes, I've sent money to these causes in the past, but we can't get pulled by everything that happens online. So this is just a reminder that while we want to be great, caring people and we want to be politically and civically involved, there's a limit. There's a limit to everything we do in life. And that's the point of this whole video. Anyhow, last thought, this is the book, Meditations for Mortals. Highly recommend it. All right, guys, so thanks for watching. As always, if you like this video, please think about subscribing. I would appreciate it. It's not mandatory. You don't have to, like we talked about. Everything's a choice. You don't have to do anything. But if you do subscribe, the consequences will be you'll see more of my videos. So I would appreciate it. Have a great day.